It's amazing how long it can take for the bleeding obvious to meander its way into mainstream thinking. If you want to be right on down with the kids cool in the 2020s, it will be essential that you drive an electric car. Every major manufacturer is working round the clock to replace dirty old diesels with clean and silent electrics across their range. Tesla has announced its first profit. We've had more electricity produced by non-fossil fuels than coal and oil for the first time ever, and Hollywood A-listers from Katy Perry to Will Smith can be seen parading the streets of Tinseltown in their Teslas. However, there just might be a couple of teeny-weeny problems if we all join together in electric dreams. There are 32.5 million cars on the UK's roads. There are 15,000 charging points. That's one for every 2,166 cars. Remember those queues at petrol stations during the 1970s oil crisis? The line of cars at each charging point will gridlock every town in the land, which I suppose will be one way of halting pollution. Capital economics has kindly done the sums for us. We need to install 2,000 electric charging points every day for the next 30 years in order to meet demand. That would get us to 25 million, enough to address problems like mine where I live on the top floor and my car is parked 3 floors and 300 meters away. I did have a look in Robert Dyas, but I could not find a 300-meter extension cable anywhere. And there's another issue. One of the many things we take for granted in the first world, at least until Jeremy Corbyn brings Venezuela to the streets of Britain, is that when we press the switch on the wall, the lights will come on. But what if we all swap our gas guzzlers for Nissan Leafs and Jaguar I-Pacers? In 8 years, only $170,000 have made the switch, so it's a trickle rather than a torrent. That represents just 2% of all vehicles on the road. So it's a big unknown if the national grid could cope. Experts are less worried about the overall capacity of the grid than the spikes at peak times. So when everyone gets home from work and plugs the car into the mains, that's when the lights are most likely to go out across the UK. Back to capital economics for some facts and figures. They reckon that if the government's target of zero emissions from vehicles by 2050 is to be met, we need to spend £286 billion on infrastructure. 48 billion of that will be to enhance the generating power of the national grid. 40% of us cannot charge electric vehicles at home, so every high street, supermarket, car park and other common area will need long lines of rapid chargers if we're to adapt our habits and wean ourselves off petrol engines. That will need a much more joined-up transport policy than this country has ever had before. Let's see if our politicians can deliver it. I'll see you next time.